Hello.
Hello, Austin. Welcome
Cheers.
back.
I cracked the wine already. Like I told you,
Oh,
we had a parental issue tonight
yeah,
in the
yeah,
bathtub. My son
yeah.
left a present that he shouldn't have left in there. So I started drinking a little earlier than
Self-medicating.
usual. Yeah.
Yeah, a little
So I'm ready to
self-medication.
go.
Forget the day.
How are
Well,
you?
I,
You're
I'm
back from a
already,
long trip, long
I
weekend.
am, I'm also already drinking because my Raiders defeated the Patriots today, and it feels so good every time we beat the goddamn Patriots.
How
So,
many times did they mention the
cheers.
tuck rule during the game?
I didn't hear the volume, so I'm sure it was mentioned more than once.
Well, I'm glad you got a little bit of revenge.
It'll always be there, stinging.
I bet. Okay, episode warm up. Do we have anything for that?
We do. So
Okay.
you weren't prepared for this, I don't think,
No, I
but
was
I went
not.
back and looked at every European qualifier game in this international
Oh my
break. So they
god.
started playing, I think last Thursday
Yeah.
they played. So there's been a good amount of games played. I don't know the total number, but probably 20 plus games. 7 red cards so far in the international break,
Oh my god.
just for European qualifiers. Not I'm not looking at any other qualifiers, any other countries or continents, but just in the Euro qualifying, we had Latvia with a red card, Czechia with a red card, Faroe Islands with a red card, Belgium with a red card, Bulgaria with a red card, Hungary with a red card, and Andorra with a red card. So
Wow.
and there's still at least 10 plus games to come. I think 12 or so games to come tomorrow and Tuesday. So there
Okay.
could still even be more in this break.
7 red cards means 7 drinks for both of us. We are
We'll
definitely
split it.
going to
We'll
need to
split it down
stagger
the
this.
middle.
Okay,
We'll
three,
split it down
three,
the middle.
three and a half,
Three
and three
three
and a half.
each.
We'll still need to stagger it. Uh, Okay, so I'll kick it off. So the first thing we wanted to talk about today was USA played Germany in a friendly in Connecticut of all places, which
Yeah, UConn
I
Stadium.
I still don't understand why they have a 40,000 plus stadium in Connecticut, but apparently it's been a while since I've been there.
I mean, power of football, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Middle of nowhere will have a giant stadium. So
Well,
still an odd choice, though. An odd choice.
leaving, so Germany ends up winning 3-1. But that first half, was we actually were on top 1-0, and Germany scored a
Yeah,
couple minutes later to tie it up right before halftime. We go in 1-1, and it was even. Like,
yeah.
they created chances. We looked dangerous going forward. They were probably like, they're obviously the overall better team, more skilled team, but
Hmm.
every time we went forward we looked scary. And
Yeah.
I was actually impressed with our performance. I feel like we can take a lot from it, even though we lost.
Hmm.
And I'll
At
start
least
my
to
three and
start
a
the game.
half.
Yeah. And at some point, the coaches started making subs, try to get more players on the field, and the game kind of devolves a little bit from
Yeah,
what we saw in the first half. So, but I think you're spot on. And from the very beginning, it felt as even as we've probably ever looked or felt against a really big nation. Just on paper and actually seeing it with our eyes. Great goal by Pulisic. Drink, dude,
there's gonna be a lot of
unsavable
drinks.
shot.
Dude, such a good shot, and it was just so easy for him to. He
Yeah,
what's his name? Ta, the defender, big
yeah,
right back. He had no chance against Pulisic. Pulisic could do whatever he wanted
yeah,
with that guy. He
yeah.
was just so quick. But that shot, oh, you're right. Cheers to that one.
Yeah, it was great shot. Yeah, so to go up 1-0 at home was pretty awesome, but to see the scoreline at the end obviously disappointing for the team. But I think you're right. I think good takeaways. I I once again was unimpressed. I think I talked about this before, but I'm really not a fan of Serginho Dest, and at least one of those goals was him not getting back to the offsides line. I just think he's such a liability on defense. Like he's great going forward,
He's
but he's always part in some sort of a way of us letting up a goal. So you got to cover him if you have him out there on the field.
he is Trent Alexander Arnold. Like,
Yep.
he's our
Hmm.
version of that, where it. less so the long passes and the free kicks, and more so just the darting runs up the field.
Yeah, the give
Um,
and goes, the drawing defenders. Yeah, like he does so many good things offensively, creating space.
right.
He's willing to. We talked about it before, right? He's willing to take risks. He's willing to do stuff, but he's just there's always a moment in these games where defensively he's a liability out there.
I'm 100% with you. And the announcer even called it out a couple times. One time it wasn't Dest's fault, but he was like, "This
Mm,
is where they need a Tyler Adams because
yep.
Tyler Adams would mop up all of that. Like if
Mm,
Dest went forward, Adams was there to help.
drop
That
in.
was like
That's a
his
great point.
job. So if he's back, Dest can make those runs more freely, and
Yep.
I think it's we're a better team with Adams out there, obviously. So that
Yeah.
hurt. And Reyna, I feel like it was really important for him to start Reyna for everybody's
Yep.
sake.
Yeah.
And I I want to at least I shit on Berhalter all the time. I want to give him credit for doing that because it probably wasn't
Yeah.
easy. And
He played a good lineup. I mean, there
yeah,
may be a few spots he could do different, but
and Reyna played well, but he needed to defend more with this German club, and he's more of an offensive guy too. He doesn't think defense. So, but I thought he held his own and did pretty well.
yeah.
Uh, but the difference is, you said it is, after the subs, like the
Hmm.
difference we can hang. Like our starting 11, our best guys can hang, but
Yep.
then Germany can bring on Havertz, Goretzka, Julian Brandt, Thomas Muller, Nicholas Sula. In the second half, they didn't even start, and we're like,
Yeah.
ah, oh, fuck. Here comes Aronson, De La Torre, Pepe, Cameron Vickers. Like it's just not the
Yeah.
same. Like that's
It's
where
not.
we are still far beyond the mammoths of
Yeah.
world soccer. But
Yeah, and obviously it's a friendly. Germany isn't coming into this game in 100% mode, right?
sure,
So we have to take that into account as well. But regardless, even if they're playing at 90% of the effort level or intensity level, for us to stick with it at the beginning, you got to look at the positives here, right? And how far we've come in against a team like this was really good to see. So I'm choosing to look at the positives. There was a few negatives, but
oh yeah,
obviously not winning the game hurts. But I think we're moving in the right direction, and hopefully Berhalter does not mess this up.
this is nothing but positive for me. Like I didn't expect nothing from this game was going to make me be like, oh my god, we're better than Germany. I knew that was going to happen. But I I would if Germany, if any big club comes up against the USA in a tournament format, it's not going to be fun. They're going to be pissed about it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and we're so young. We can run for days. Like,
yeah,
oh man,
yeah. They
we
would much rather play like Mexico than us. Like
mm-hmm.
a team where like there may be some good players, but the team itself is becoming so much stronger across the board, right? Where in the past it was always like islands of like, oh, that's a good player, this is a good player, and we're just becoming much more, solid across the board. Where there's still teams like Mexico, where I feel like that previous form is exactly how they are, right? Good player here, trash in between. And those are the teams you want to play when you're a big club, right? You want to have a team that has a weakness you can exploit, not a team where like you have to play good, start to finish, and play solid.
Yeah, and Balogun didn't have a great game. Didn't have a ton of chances, but just having a competent central forward
Yeah,
surrounded by the players that we have are
yeah,
so dangerous going forward. It's awesome.
exactly.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
So, yeah, good.
love to see it.
We're
Yep.
pointing in the right direction. Cheers to Greg Berhalter. Thank you for doing something correct.
Yeah, so we
And
have
please keep it
we
up.
have Ghana coming up on Tuesday, so that'll be another fun one to see
They're a
what
good team too.
what happens. Yeah, solid team.
I feel like we should have higher expectations to win that one than Germany,
Oh, I
obviously.
think so.
But I think we should win. Um,
Yeah,
Also, I just want to shout out Gundogan's so good. He
yeah,
he's just pure class. Like
yeah,
you can just tell he's so much better than everybody else, even on his own team. Like
yeah,
positionally, like making the right play. It's pretty awesome. And that German club is dangerous too, man. Musiala and Sane are just so hard to handle. Like
Oh yeah,
it's
so
tough.
good, dude.
When
Yeah, and
Julian Brandt
and
can't
now
start, like, oof, man.
exactly now that they have Nagelsmann as coach, like I feel just full optimism for that team. Like
Yeah,
that's the type of guy, like bring in some from fresh blood, new ways of thinking, modern football with the young crop of players they have coming through. I would be so excited if I'm a German fan.
I would love to see the odds for the Euros. We should take a look at that because I
Yeah, we could check
definitely
that out.
think,
Yeah.
well, Germany with the home field advantage will probably get an edge, but I feel like that's got to be a good bet. Did you see the flannel Nagelsmann was rocking on the sidelines?
I didn't see him, no.
Dude, I'm gonna look it up while
Okay,
while we
so
talk this
I
through.
do have do you want to check the odds now? I do have the odds here in front of me.
Let me guess. Let me guess top three.
Okay.
France,
France is number 1, plus
Portugal,
400. Portugal's number 5,
five.
plus 900.
Okay, is Germany two?
Germany is 3 at plus 700.
England's two.
England is 2, just behind France, plus 450.
Who's is four Italy? That doesn't sound
No,
right.
they're in 8th.
Spain probably stupidly. I see.
Spain.
I just have such a low view of Spain. Um, okay, yeah,
Yeah, so really the tiers are France and England neck and neck. Then you have sort of Germany, Spain, Portugal
yeah.
in the same group, and then you have Netherlands, Belgium, Italy in like the next tier down. It's kind
Well,
of three tiers.
no offense to England, but should they really be in a tier above like Germany, Portugal, Germany as a home nation? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think Germany should be a little bit higher with taking into account the home field advantage. I mean, I think England deserves it. I just don't think they should be as close as they are to France. Like they're 50 points behind France. I can agree with them being second, but there should be at least a 100-point gap between them and France, and Germany should be closer.
Yeah, agreed. Being the home nation, I actually would put Germany ahead of them, but maybe on a neutral field. Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, true. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
All right. So we got just a couple of news things to go over. As a as an Italian American, how do you feel about this Italian betting scandal?
I mean, obviously, very upset. I'm just coming into the know of this as of like 30 minutes ago, so
Okay.
totally out of the loop on what happened, what days, and kind of the saga of what news has come out since the initial news break. What punishments may have been floated, anything like that, I don't know. But what I do know is that the combination of Tonali, Zaniolo, and Fagioli were all implicated in gambling, and they were all in Serie A last year. Right now, Tonali and Zaniolo are both in the Premier League now, but I believe obviously this is about past betting,
Yes. But
and
yeah.
obviously devastating for Fagioli. I'm not wasn't the biggest fan of. I mean, I think he's a quality player, but not at the same level as like a Tonali.
Yeah.
So for Tonali, this is devastating. I don't know what punishments are being talked about, but
Well,
it can't be good.
they are not. They were removed from the international team pending
Okay,
this probe.
pending it.
Um, so that happened like Thursday or Friday. It says that they're probably going to get fined. Essentially, the most detail I could get was they were betting on illegal gambling sites. They don't
Okay.
say what they were betting on, which is always my follow up question. And
Hmm.
then uh, it's probably going to be a big fine and potentially a suspension for a year. But it doesn't say what league or if it's all leagues or what. So I think it's still unfolding as far as the investigation goes. Um,
Yes, it definitely sounds like it. Yeah.
I would imagine he's still going to play with Newcastle, but the uh, and Zaniolo is going to play with West Ham. But Um, the international team's kind of just like, nah, we're gonna stay away for now, which is kind of
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
if this is an Italian court thing, I get it, right? Where if they're in England, I get the we'll see what happens in the investigation and move on from there. But dude, these things almost never end positive for the players involved. So
I feel like that too.
we just saw what happened with it could take a long time to get there, but eventually there's going to be some sort of suspension. So be curious to see how fast this moves.
It's crazy. Players these days, all sports, you just can't be gambling. Like
No.
there's too much money at risk, and they will punish you. It happens in every sport.
Yep.
It's crazy. Well, hopefully neither of them get suspended. Hopefully it was nothing. But like you
I
said,
mean,
it probably will be
yeah. I
that.
mean, I the one headline I saw was that Fagioli gambled like over €1 million or something. So that's a significant amount of money. So that was like kind of the only little bit piece of news that I heard. But I mean, if we're talking those types of sums, I feel like there's going to be some punishment. Who knows if those guys were betting at the same level as him?
Yeah.
But
Way to
he'll
keep it
probably be
discreet.
he'll definitely be at the front of whatever punishment comes through.
Oh my god, yeah. All right, on to more positive news. Well, kind of negative news actually as well. So Andros Townsend joined Luton Town,
Yeah,
and he was in
that's sick.
the commentary box earlier this
That's sick.
year, and I really liked him. I thought he was good. So happy for him to get back in the league. But
Yeah, man, he's
we're gonna
only
have to.
32,
Yeah,
man.
he'll be back in the booth when he's done.
Yeah,
So we'll see
yeah,
him again. But I did like him as an announcer. Uh,
that's awesome.
yeah,
I love that he did that.
I was shocked that he was announcing. I was like, "Holy shit, your career's over!" I feel like, yeah, you can't be
He
that
signed.
old.
What does it say? He signed. Sorry, I'm reading through this.
It's all good. As you do that, I'm
Yeah.
gonna queue up what we're gonna do next. So we're roughly a quarter of the way through the season. It's been 8 matches, so we definitely have a feel for all the teams. And preseason, we picked our table. Um, we predicted how the table would finish, and
Mm-hmm.
basically we're gonna repick in an indirect way. Uh, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna go through the current standings, and then you're just gonna tell me if you think they're gonna finish higher or lower than where they are. And then by the end of it, we should have what you think the final table is gonna look like.
Okay. All right.
So, did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, I was curious, like what kind of contract Townsend signed. He only signed until January for now, so he literally signed a 3 month contract. So it's definitely a trial.
Yeah,
See
making
how he
sure
does, and then
he's still in
yeah,
shape.
yeah, make sure he still got it.
That's funny. I have a feeling he'll stick around. They're not doing so hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tottenham right now is in first place with 20 points. I assume you don't think they're going to win the league. So, how far down do you think they're going to finish?
Um, let's look at the current table here. I think I think they'll finish fourth.
Okay, Tottenham 4. Arsenal is in second with 20 points as well. Where do you think they're going to finish?
Uh, I think I think they're gonna win now.
Ooh, okay. So moving Arsenal up to number 1. Wow. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay. That means, okay, Man City
This
is
is obviously
currently
very
third.
recency bias. Man City just losing 2 games in a row for the first time in 5 years. Obviously, it's very, very much in our brains right now. To me, this comes down to you haven't got to the team yet, but when it comes to first, I'm deciding between Liverpool or Arsenal. I think one of those two teams.
Wow. Okay, so Man City is in third right now with 18 points. Do you think they stay in third?
I think they finish in third.
Oh, man, I hope you're right. Wow. Okay. So that means Liverpool's currently in fourth with 17. You think they're going to be number
Liverpool in
two?
second. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
How does that match up to my?
You originally
Uh,
put
Definitely
Liverpool number
different.
one, Arsenal number two, Man City number three,
Okay,
Man
so I still have,
United
I had
number
Man
four.
City third originally too. Okay,
You were on to Man City. Look at you.
okay, okay.
Okay. Currently, Aston Villa is in fifth. They have looked really good this season. They have 16 points. Do you think they finish where they're at or lower?
No, I, yeah, this is tough, man. I think
Yeah, you got to move
I,
somebody up if you move somebody down.
I hate this, but I think by the end of the season, Man U is going to be there.
Ah, Man U all the way back to number
I
five for
think
Torn.
it's
Okay,
just
so currently Man
I've
United
talked about it.
is in 10th with 12 points. They're only 4 points behind Aston Villa after all of this.
True. Yeah. So yeah, so it's definitely feasible. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so Brighton's in sixth with 16, same as Aston
Oh
Villa.
man,
Do you think they stay at six or are they dropping?
no. I think I like Newcastle moving up to this spot here. This is so tough
It's
here, but I
so
think
tough.
I like Newcastle here, and then I like Brighton.
Okay,
Brighton in
Brighton
seventh.
seven. Okay, and Newcastle six. Currently, Newcastle is in eighth with 13 points, just 3 points behind Brighton. So
Yeah.
yeah, this
So
the
and then
top
I
10 is
and
wild. So then,
yeah, and then I see West Ham and then Aston Villa. So Aston Villa dropping
okay.
fifth to ninth.
So West Ham's currently in seventh. You have him in eighth, and then Aston Villa, who's currently fifth, dropping all the way down and finishing in ninth.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they're too up and down. They have these games where they look like the best team in the league, and then they'll just shit their pants against the net. So I think on by the end of the season, it's going to add up to being near mid-table, even though when they're on, they really do look like one of the best teams.
Yeah, they have really come out well this season. Okay, number nine in the league is Crystal Palace. So you have them dropping at least one spot because your next opening's at 10th. So are they
Yeah,
in 10th
they're
or
they're
lower?
down. No, I think Chelsea edges up to the
Okay, so
front
Chelsea
half of the
will
table.
make the top 10 for you and finish 10th.
Yep. And
How
then I
far
think
down is Crystal Palace?
I think they're going to be down in the mid teens. So
Wow. Okay. All right. So who do you want at 11
put them
then?
in at put them in at 14.
Okay, we can move them around.
Yeah, at 11 I like Chelsea, or no, I had Chelsea move it up. I like Brentford bouncing back eventually here.
Okay.
I think they have a good team. They still have a good coach. They're going to figure things out. And they're going to be, I think, by the end of the season, challenging again for top half of the table. Um,
All right.
12th.
Fulham's
Okay.
currently in 12th. Do you think they stay up there above Crystal Palace?
I, ooh, yeah, I think Fulham has good players, but I think I like him in 13th. So go ahead and put him down there in 13th.
Okay.
I like Nottingham Forest in 12th.
Oh, I
I
love
think they're
that.
starting to put it. I think they're starting to put it together, man.
You know I picked Nottingham Forest
Um,
to win every week.
of course, but they really are showing signs, man. They're not just getting fluke victories, right? Or these like, you know, they only, are good when they're at home. Like they're putting in good performances on the road. They
Mhm.
have players that are threats now in multiple positions. It took a while to kind of get this team formulated, but it's really starting to show signs now.
I'm totally in agreement with you. I love Nottingham Forest. They're in 13th right now, so you're only moving them up one spot, so it's not that big of a shocker, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
true.
so that means you
Um,
have Crystal Palace, you have Nottingham Forest 12th, Fulham in 13th, Crystal Palace in 14th, and then 15th. Next team available in the current standings is Wolves at 14.
I Wolves has been flying high. Obviously, good draws, a win, huge games. But I think they just don't have enough, man. Like at some point here, they're either going to start selling players in the January window. People are going to get hurt. So I see them drop in from where they are. I like Everton in this spot. I think Everton's really starting to figure it out.
You're big on Everton now, huh? They
Yeah.
turned the
I,
corner
I
for
mean,
you.
not big. I just think they're better than some of these other teams we're going to get into,
Sure,
the
sure, sure.
players they have. So I think Wolves, I would go ahead and put Wolves right behind them there.
Okay. And then we're
I
left
don't I
with
don't think
the three relegation teams plus who are we missing? Oh,
Luton Town.
Luton Town, Burnley,
Technically
Bournemouth,
not in relegation
Sheffield.
right now,
Yeah, I
which is
assumed they
hilarious.
were. Yeah,
I still have Luton Town dead last, so go ahead and plop them in there. I think Sheffield just ahead of them.
yeah.
And then I think end of the season, roster v roster, I think Bournemouth's going to edge out Burnley.
The Tyler Adams
I think
effect, hopefully.
I, yeah, hopefully, yeah. I think it's just been a tough year for these promoted teams, man,
It
and
really
it's
has.
it's only going to get tougher as we get along in the season. So I think Bournemouth once again just escape relegation as we get towards the end of the season.
Okay, so let me do a quick recap for your squad. You have Luton Town, Sheffield,
Yeah.
and Burnley, the three promoted teams, all dropping. Uh, I agree with you on that. I disagree with the order. I would put Sheffield last. I've actually seen more from Luton Town. I still think they're going to get relegated, but uh, yeah, they're all going back down. And then I would agree with Bournemouth. You have Bournemouth 17, 16 Wolves, 15 Everton, 14 Crystal Palace, 13 Fulham, 12 Nottingham Forest, 11 Brentford, rounding out the bottom 10. And then your top 10: Chelsea 10, Villa 9, West Ham 8, Brighton 7, Newcastle 6th, Man U 5th, Tottenham 4th, Man City 3, Liverpool 2, Arsenal 1. That's fire right there. That's pretty hot
I don't
take.
know. I don't know. I couldn't go chalk, man. I
But
had to
I
spice
don't
things up.
I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah.
I
To me, the craziest of all there, I think, when you look at things right now, is me picking Man U fifth. Like of all the things I said there, just the way things are right now. But whether there ends up being a coaching change, they bring in more players in January, they just figure shit out. I don't know what. That's the caliber of players they have. Yes, they're not going to challenge for a championship this year. They're probably not really going to challenge for Champions League even by the end of the season, but they're going to be right in the thick of it, I think, for getting to Europe with the Europa League. So I see this happening, especially if Newcastle has any sort of issues where they start to fall off.
mm-hmm.
They're going to be right there ready to pounce. So the only, I think the biggest threat for me is like Brighton is this the ultimate risk reward team. Like if they go on a string, the way they play, they could be up there practically challenging for Tottenham. If things go their way and the style they play, things work out,
Yeah.
they're going to be a threat to everybody. But they let in a lot of goals, and what I'm banking on here is by the end of the season that evens out to some key losses as they get down the stretch.
Yeah. I agree with most of you on this. I think Villa's going to fall off. I think West Ham's going to fall off to an extent. I feel like they're kind of playing at their ceiling right now. But also, James Ward-Prowse gives them a new element that I really like. As long as Paqueta doesn't go to
Mm-hmm.
jail, I think they'll be okay.
As long as somebody just gets rid of these betting sites, we're gonna have some good players playing.
For real. Uh, I actually think Liverpool is the best team.
Yeah.
And I am a little picking with my heart on that one. They just need to shore up their defense. If they can just bring somebody in January, which I'm hoping they do, to
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if there's a quality defender out there, but they need to bring in some stabilizing force alongside Van Dyke, and I feel like it would just mean the world to them. Uh,
Yeah.
so I would have them one in that hopeful situation. It's really tough for me to pick Man City, uh,
Arsenal too.
not number one, but I'm gonna go Man City two, Arsenal three.
Okay.
I do think Tottenham is real. I think Man United only make it to sixth, and Newcastle finishes fifth. I love that Newcastle team, and Brighton is just such a wild card. They could finish fourth, and it wouldn't shock me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just there's the top 10 is so difficult, and then if Chelsea figures things out, I don't think they're going to finish in the top six, but they could beat anybody. If on a given day and just ruin the standings. It's just going to be so fun at the end of the season. It's going to jump around so
Yeah.
much.
I mean, we talked about it, man. So far, the results that we've seen, some of these key results, upsets and whatnot, are just going to make this season way better. Like this is what we weren't getting last season,
Yes,
until the very end of the season.
we were getting
So,
this
I mean, to have this stuff,
for the bottom of the league.
exactly, yeah. And as we talked about, it felt very even top to bottom, but now it feels much more sort of front loaded in the top half of the table. But we're getting this instead, which is just as awesome to watch. So it makes a lot of really compelling games. So just to recap, so you had Liverpool 1, just behind you had Man City and Arsenal neck and neck, but Man City 2, Arsenal 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had Tottenham 4,
Tottenham, Newcastle, Man
Tottenham
U,
4,
Brighton,
Newcastle.
and then I kind of like how you have it there. Uh, I would put Nottingham Forest above Brentford, and I would put Crystal Palace above Fulham. Actually, I'd probably put Crystal Palace above Nottingham Forest too. I just think when they get Elise back, they'll be able to score. That's
Hmm.
that's their problem. They're defensively they've been great. I don't know how many goals they've let in, but it hasn't been a lot. They just can't score. And I think
Yeah.
Elise distributing is gonna just open things up for them.
I think it's a good point. And you just talked about creating chances to score and actually scoring, and in doing what you just did, you obviously dropped Fulham down closer to the relegation zone, and that's really where they're struggling, man. They're creating chances. They're a solid team, but they just can't finish, man, and that's what it's going to come down to for them. So I think it's a wise move, looking at how they've performed so far this season.
Mitrovic was so important to that team.
So important.
It's crazy. It's hard to replace that.
Yeah, it's crazy how rare and special true goal scorers are. Like they just have a knack, and whatever it is that they have, it's rare out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of those guys out there. And I feel like there's such a difference between, like, when you're scouting a player, watching a player play in practice, whatever, playing in a lower league. It's like they can look amazing, but it's like when it comes down to when the metal meets the road, rubber meets the road in the Premier League, you've got the best players in the world going against them who's actually at that level.
Mm-hmm.
And there's very few guys. And it's really hard to find them until you actually see them in the Premier League.
That's why
And
they
they're
play
feeling the
until their
pain
late 30s and are still
and
dangerous
still
players.
it's still playing on big teams,
So
right? And
they're
still
hard
still
to
scoring.
find. Yeah, they are hard to find. Uh, so yeah, that's how I see it breaking down. And I can't wait. We'll try this again at the midway point and see
Yeah.
and see how we're doing. See how much has changed since we
Yeah.
did this.
Yeah, week 19 we'll try and do
I have a
that.
feeling it's
So,
going to be difficult to predict even a month to the end of the season, which is why it's so exciting. All right.
yeah, true. It's fun.
You went home this weekend, back to Oakland, and you saw your Oakland roots play. So let's get a little story time from Torrin.
Yeah, so we talked about it before. Austin has his San Diego USL team. I have
Had
my Bay Area
had
had.
this was their
Well, they're
last
still,
season. They're done.
but season's still going on, man. They made the playoffs.
Okay, fair
So,
enough, fair enough.
uh, but yeah, so we've had our little, cross region rivalry we've been talking about, but I finally had a chance. I still had not been to a Roots game. I had heard about them and seen clips and whatnot. My family had been to games, but I finally had an opportunity to go. Um, and they actually just recently moved stadiums, which I didn't realize. So I thought they were playing at Laney in Oakland. They actually are playing at Cal State East Bay in Hayward now. So I drove over to the stadium there. It turned out it was the largest crowd they've ever had. There was like 6,500 people there. Last game of the season. The stakes here were that they're in ninth place. Top 8 teams make playoffs. So this last game of the season, They're down 2 points in the standings. They need a win. If they win, the other team loses, they make the playoffs. It just so happens they're playing the 8th place team right ahead of them. So if they win this game, they control their destiny. They make it to the playoffs. So everyone's stoked, amped up, stoked. Totally fun atmosphere. Definitely would go back again. Really, really fun. They come out they're attacking. They're just going after it, man. Crosses in, just full attack. It wasn't until like the, I don't know, 12th or 15th minute that the other team, El Paso, even had like a legitimate attack. They literally just throw this long ball up. Ref 100% misses an offsides call. Striker goes free.
No VAR.
Scores. The only chance that they created, goal.
Oh my god.
Oakland's down 1-0. They attack again. They're just dominating possession, dominating the game. The second chance that El Paso creates, once again, super close call on the offsides. This one I think was, maybe a little bit closer to being, the right call. Goalie saves it though. So it was once again 1-on-1 with the goalie. Goalie saves it. Corner kick, goes out to the side. They throw it in, and free kick. And El Paso, so with the second shot that they have, goal again off the free kick, header past the goalie, bullet header.
Oh man.
2-0 down, and they're just dominating possession, creating all the chances. It was just the classic, like, we're gonna park the bus and counterattack, and you guys do whatever you want. So just totally deflating. But they make it into the second half, 2-0, make some subs, come out, and I saw probably the sickest goal I've ever seen in person.
Really?
100% true bicycle kick from close to the edge of the box. Goal in the corner, like a full overhead bicycle kick. That's from the Oakland Roots player. I don't know what player it was, but like,
was it off a cross?
It was like a cross, and then it was like deflected off the goalie or something, right? So it kind of like flew up in the air, and this guy just like full bike scored it. So everyone's getting all amped up. They're only down 2-1, but they need to win, right? They need 2 goals, and they kept the pressure up the whole game and just couldn't find a way. So it was super disappointing in the end, but it was really, really fun to go check out a game. But that's the way they sign off their season. So hopefully they don't meet a similar fate to the Loyal in the off season. But strong fan base.
I really think that USL needs to just be the second tier league, and they need to have relegation to MLS. It makes so much sense.
They do, and they need to have like a legitimate stadium or something that they play at, right? Not playing at like some college field.
It gives the teams the ability to grow, and keep it alive. It's just so much. It would help MLS in the long run.
Exactly. Yeah, they should be, right. They should be at least like incentivizing these teams to exist, right? Because it just grows the whole national architecture of soccer, right?
Yes.
And whether it becomes a feeder league for the MLS or whatever it is, right? Like whether it's the talent you're talking about or actual eventually like true tiered soccer, it would be amazing. So I'm surprised there isn't as much support as we see. Yeah. But I also found out when I was there that there was an opportunity to invest in the club, and I am now officially an Oakland Roots owner of a very, 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 very small slice of the club. Awesome. But I got my official certificate of ownership, and I'm now very fully invested, I'll say.
Now that we don't have a local team, I will support the Oakland Roots. Send me some swag. Yeah. I'm still yet to see what sort of perks this gives me besides a piece of paper, but I'll let you know if anything else happens. They didn't even frame it for you. It's not even laminated.
Yeah, right.
Got the certificate. That's amazing. Well, cool, man. Yeah, I hope you keep the team. It's a bummer when teams go down like ours did. So
yeah, it was tough. And I'm just telling you, man, watching this game, it was hilarious. It was just that classic soccer game. I want to look at the stats right now. I'm telling you. Yeah, they had 63% possession. They had 2-1 on possession. 20 shots to 5.
Yeah.
Uh, they completed 200 more passes. They had 10% better pass accuracy. They had 12 corners to 1. It
That
was just like,
that right there
oh,
is why my dad hated soccer.
yeah.
He couldn't get past the fact that one team on a certain day could be the clear better team
Yep.
and lose.
And lose. Yep.
I know
It's tough.
it is a flaw. It is with
It's
there's so
tough.
few goals, stuff like that happens sometimes.
It is part of the magic though.
Yeah,
So
it is. You're right.
you gotta live, you gotta roll with it.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to quotes. Uh, you got a Pulisic quote, which I'm eager to hear. Is this pre Germany match or post Germany match Pulisic?
This was pre, I believe. Yeah, this was actually in regards to the the we talked about it last time, the AC Milan game where he scored the go-ahead goal. Goalie ends up getting a red card, and Giroud goes in goal. So this was his quote: "I was ready to play goalkeeper against Genoa, but the goalkeeping coach preferred Giroud. He's taller than me."
Awesome. Oh man, vibes are high on that team, man.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Dude, AC Milan, love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I saw a
So
bogus
good.
news thing. I don't think it's real, or I don't know, but it said that AC Milan's looking at Scally,
Yeah,
scouting him. I, whoever's writing these stories is just like AC Milan is scouting any U.S. international player. You know, it's
they're
like
just trying to like stack them up.
come on, I don't know.
I wonder. I am legitimately curious if they've seen some sort of like uptick in either merchandise sales or viewership or whatever with the Americans being there. I'd be curious, and if they did see some sort of meaningful increase, maybe it's a viable option.
I'm definitely watching more. I'm not buying AC Milan
Yeah,
gear,
true, true,
but
100%.
I'm paying attention definitely. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but they don't need to get the whole squad. I doubt they will, but
yes,
I
yeah.
actually think they
Actually,
made
they shouldn't. They
they
shouldn't do that.
they made two smart investments. Musa and Pulisic would be like the two guys I would want. Like
Yeah,
Musa's 20 years old. He's so good. He's the type of player I
exactly.
love. Like the only other guy on the U.S. that I think would even make sense for them is maybe
Maybe
Weah,
Ty,
but he's
maybe
already on
maybe
in
Tyler
Juventus.
Adams. If they want to
Yeah,
shore up the midfield.
I do really like Tyler Adams. I feel like he can play and should be playing at a bigger club than a Bournemouth
Yeah,
or a Leeds. He's better than that.
dude, he was one of the, if not the best player on Leeds last year. Like
If like
he's
I would pick him over Endo on Liverpool. Like
100%.
he would be perfect for them. Absolutely perfect for
Yeah,
them. Whenever
yeah.
Trent
Let these other
Alexander-Arnold, we
let
already
these other
talked about
guys
it. Let him run up and just have
let these other
Tyler
guys
Adams
do all
fill
the
in.
shit,
Yeah.
and he'll just short everything up.
Oh my God, why isn't that a
Yeah.
thing? Oh my God, I'd
I
be
think
such
there's
a
just
Liverpool
I
fan.
think there's just this lingering mentality that American players are not polished enough, right? They're
Most
athletic.
most of them aren't polished enough.
True, I know, and I think it feeds over to a lot of these guys that are breaking the mold of that
Yes.
tradition, right? And that puts them at such a disadvantage, I think, optically, that it's going to be a tough one to overcome.
Well, Pulisic is shutting up a lot of critics right now this season, and it's so awesome to see.
It's amazing to see. Love it. So I had another quote for you. This one came from the La Liga chief. I haven't heard of this guy before, but his name's Javier Tebas, and this is just shots fired at PSG. But this is a quote: "We all know that PSG lost 605 million euros. Perhaps if there was a tournament to waste money, PSG would win it."
Ha!
From the president, basically the president of La Liga.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Oh gosh, gotta love it. Spain and France hate each other.
Just firing shots, man.
All right, I got a couple quotes for you. So these two quotes tie into a question. So the first quote is from Miroslav Klose, German international. He said, "Quote: I said stop playing football because I no longer recognized it. Um, Today, young people think about other things. As a child, I only thought about training and becoming someone in this sport that I always loved. At Lazio and in the national team, after each training session, I put myself in a bathtub full of ice to avoid injuries, but the young people on the team systematically refused. When they saw me picking up the bags of balls to put them away at the end of training, they said to me, 'But who tells you to do that?' At the moment, I said to myself, 'You're 20 years old and you can't help a 6-year-old worker?' They care more about whether their cleats go with their socks. That's why I said stop. The football I knew no longer exists. Today's young people think first of cars, contracts with their sponsors, and their new crampons. It is only after all the things that football comes. For them, their image is the most important thing, whereas me, all that mattered was football in its purest form.'"
Love it.
And then I have another quote from Tiago. Um, he said, quote, "I have that hate modern football mentality. I'm more classic in attitude. The number 10 role has almost disappeared. We see less magic, less fantasy. Footballers do more, but faster. Players are more developed in every sense. The playmaker who was slower, even if he has sublime technique, doesn't get the opportunity to turn anymore. There's also VAR. I've always been against it and wish it didn't exist. It takes the essence of the game away from you. We make mistakes when we play. Referees must do so too, as they are human. Without trickery, many famous moments in the history of football would not have happened." So these are two
True.
older players. Do they have any merit to what they're saying, or is it just old guy, new generation, I don't like these kids type of thing? Because we see that happen in the NBA a
I
lot.
well, I think both statements you just said are true. I think 100% they're both spot on. Well, the Closa is 100%. You said it was Closa, right?
It was
That said
closer,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, 100% spot on. Like I think he's on the money for what he said there. I think we've seen that in many places. I wouldn't go as far as saying everybody. I still think there are those guys out there that really do care about the game
And
and would
he's
put
got
the
to be
game
real.
first.
The guys that he played with, I'm sure there were guys that
Yeah,
felt that way back then. It wasn't that long ago.
exactly.
It was like
Yeah.
fucking 10 years ago.
But in general, the trend has gone that way, right? And there's a larger proportion of players that are like that, exactly like he's talking about. So I don't think it's a an out of place comment. Tiago, I both disagree and agree on the VAR comment. I think he's right. I mean, it really did change the essence of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it also changed it so that we get the right decisions most of the time. So, you know,
Every Liverpool
so
fan just like, what are you talking about?
most of the time. But and I think that's a good thing in general because there are just as many instances that he's talking about in history where if VAR had existed, this wouldn't have happened. Yeah, it wouldn't have happened because the right decision probably would have happened, right? And there would have been some other crazy story that would have happened, right? That
The
would have
hand of
replaced
God.
the one that you're talking about. Exactly, right? So I think that's a very, very divided comment to go down. I do agree, though, like his comment about, just in general, players are so much better now, I think. Just athletically, talent wise, they're starting at a younger age. They're honed as weapons from such a young age that they know exactly what to do. They're just everything's better, like you said, faster, and it does create a disadvantage for a certain type of player, right? Which I think he's spot on with. So there are probably these situations where we don't get to see players with sublime skill, like he said, right, that have an opportunity because they just can't stay up with the speed of the game.
Yep.
A player like Scholes is an example.
A
How
very
well would
good
he
one.
have done today? You think he's probably good enough to have still been out there, but there's going to come a time, right, where some of these guys that we look back on that were sublime with skill and mentality, but not gifted physically, some of them would not have been up to snuff today. So it's definitely a true statement. Whether that's good or bad, I think it's once again a 50-50 decision. It's made the game, I think, much more exciting in a sort of athletic speedway, but it has taken some of the art away from the game, I think.
Totally. I think that there are certain countries that it'll take more time to do that, for that transition to be made. Where
Yeah,
like the U.S. started there because that's how we do our sports. We pick the
Mm-hmm.
athletic guy, and then
And
we
then
say
teach
we
them the
can teach
skills.
him how to do these things, and that's
Yeah.
why our soccer has been jacked up for decades, because Pulisic was told he was too small, and it's like, have you watched
Mm-hmm.
soccer? Some of the best players ever are really small. Uh, it's it's less important. It actually is an
Mm-hmm.
advantage sometimes if you have really quick feet to be able to dribble around people. Like,
Yeah.
I understand his point and actually agree with it. I do think technique and skill and anticipation and vision and knowledge of the game means so much more. Look at Thomas Mueller. I could beat that dude
Mm-hmm.
in a race. You know what I mean? Like, and he's insane. So
Yeah.
there's so much more. So I totally get his point, and I do
Yeah.
see it going that direction. And then there's so much money in the game, similar to in the U.S. for U.S. sports, that players with potential are given so much money straight away, purely based on potential and not what they've accomplished, just to like get that guy in,
Yeah.
and that causes a lot of problems. I feel like for the player,
True.
for the
Mm-hmm.
for the team, just it's backwards thinking of like, I'm gonna pay this guy, making the gamble that he's gonna turn into what I think he's gonna turn into, instead of taking the known commodity and
Mm-hmm.
paying less. Like I do think that happens too much in sports. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're spot on. I think we're kind of used to seeing it in American sports because in America, our sports have drafts, right? Where it's the ultimate gamble. Like that's what the
yes,
draft is a gamble. And it's more foreign for obviously other teams where it's like if you have the money to invest in an academy and to do good scouting at a young age, you're at such an advantage over these other teams. So there it is it's like kind of a melding of that old world of how soccer works and kind of the new world of like Americanized version of sports
we don't
that
do
you
it
end up
right.
in this kind of conflict. Exactly.
We don't do it right, if you ask me. And it was funny, kind of piggybacking off of that a little bit. Did you listen to the Bill Simmons podcast a couple days, maybe it was a few days ago, where he was talking about how playoffs are kind of broken,
Yeah.
where it was basically because like the Dodgers got swept and they won
Well,
over 100
yeah,
games,
how
and
like
like,
the regular season versus the playoffs,
yeah,
yeah,
he's basically
didn't
saying
line up.
regular season's
Yeah.
meaningless. You just got to get into the playoffs and like anything can happen. It's like, well, yeah, that's what
Hmm.
playoffs are. But the whole time he was basically saying like, do we need to change it to make it more of an advantage? And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No, that's the point of playoffs. Like, that's why you have
Yeah.
playoffs. That's why you have a final tournament. Uh, it's
Yeah,
just
you
getting
either
in.
change it to be like soccer, where the regular
Exactly.
season is what matters, or you do it the way you do it, you
Exactly.
know?
That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
scream at him. Be like, this.
Yeah.
This is why you
Seriously.
need to watch soccer. Like soccer, every match is important.
Every
Every
game matters.
single match
Like
is
that wasn't
important.
getting through to him. Like, because one of the other guys he was talking with said it. They're like, well, in Britain,
Yeah.
there is no playoffs. You just whoever wins regular season. But like the point of that wasn't like the point of that didn't get across, right? That it's not just that there aren't playoffs, it's that it makes every single regular season second matter.
Yes. And then
Every
you
single
throw
one
on
is just as important as the other one.
And then you take the playoff, so to speak, and you have a
A
tournament.
tournament, yeah,
And that tournament is totally
is
separate from the
also just
season,
as valuable.
but
Yeah,
has value. Yeah, it
yeah.
is so much better and so much entertaining for fans, so much more intense for players, so they're not taking
Hmm.
load management and time off during the season because they don't care, because it doesn't matter. It's just better for the quality of
Yeah,
the sport is better. It's just,
yeah.
oh man, I wanted to
Like
scream
that's
at him.
like I feel like him and many other people I've heard are always complaining about how like the regular season sucks. It's too long. Da 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 da. Right.
Well,
And
they're
it's
right.
like there's one solution. There's one solution to this
Yes.
that's very obvious. Make it so the regular season actually matters. And how do you
Yes.
do that? You don't have playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And what's weird is the NBA is trying to get like a mid-season tournament, they're going about it the wrong way. It's so dumb.
yeah,
The
yeah.
mid-season tournament, so they're they're trying to put a band-aid on like a broken arm. It's like it's a
Hmm.
broken structure, and you're just trying to tack all these things on to try
It's
to
like, oh yeah,
fix
no, it was,
the
yeah. His
problem,
perfect
but the
analogy was
root of the
like,
problem is completely different than what you're doing.
basically his analogy was like, yeah, the band-aid didn't fix the broken arm, so put three band-aids on it
Yeah. Exactly.
instead of, you know, that's basically what he was saying. Is like, well, they should have a more of an advantage in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's like that's not really getting to the heart of the issue that you're talking about.
Exactly.
It's not solving
Exactly.
the problem.
You need to either completely overhaul the system or stop bitching about it because this is how it's always been.
Yeah, I mean, spot on. Yeah,
And start watching soccer because it's better.
it's better, man. Every game matters, man.
Every game matters. Um,
Every single game.
okay. I had one quick stat, and then I was gonna. Okay, it's more of a trivia question. Stat
Okay.
turn trivia question.
Okay.
These two players, by the age of 21, player A played 126 matches, had 70 goals and 44 assists. Okay?
Is this just like professional matches or like just
Professional.
okay?
This is Kylian Mbappe.
Yes.
126 games, 70 goals, 44 assists. Player
Okay.
B, by the age of 21, had 116 games, 10 fewer, 103 goals, 33 more, and 20 assists, 24 fewer. So we have fewer assists, but way more goals.
Ronaldo.
Ding, ding, ding.
Got it.
Oh, nice one. You got it.
Love it.
Ronaldo, not the real
He
Ronaldo, not Cristiano.
he I true. But he was also playing probably in a lower level leagues at that age, right? So
Was he? I
I mean,
mean, he was
what was he
playing.
playing for? Like he was playing like PSV or somebody.
Is League Un that good? That much better?
I mean, now is a different story, but back
Yeah,
then, I feel like there was probably a disparity.
that's true. I can't quite say how
Yeah,
good that Dutch league was.
yeah,
Um, Still pretty impressive.
yeah. No, very impressive.
I think
People
when
forget, man.
his,
People forget how good he is.
I think his first season, his he was 18. He scored 30 goals as an 18-year-old. Insane,
Insane, man.
dude. He was so crazy. Oh, I had one
It was
bonus
the
stat. I
best.
missed this one. I'm driving. So
Okay.
Casemiro was quoted saying, "When a player is absent from training and Zidane took his place, he was sometimes the best player in training."
I love it,
Can you
man.
imagine how cool that would be? To be like, oh,
Yeah.
so and so's injured. Like Zidane's just like, I'll step in for him. Like, okay, coach, and he's just like Zidane. Balling. Oh my god, he's so awesome.
It'd be so. Can you imagine? That would be so intimidating and cool at the same time. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. He's so
really
sick.
cool. All right, I had a couple sort of stat turn questions for you too,
Okay.
and then we'll call it there. So I have a list here of the players from the top five European leagues since the year 2000, so the 99-2000 season.
Okay.
The most non-penalty goals and assists per 90 minutes ratio. So not just the guys that went and scored 15 penalties every year because their team won them,
Mm-hmm.
but non-penalty goals and assists since the year 2000. Top five leagues in Europe. Who do you think is number one? So once again, this is per 90, right? So per games played, essentially. So it doesn't mean the person that had the longest career, right?
I
But
still
over
think
their career,
Messi's got to be number one.
he is number one. You got
He's
it.
got to be. He's got to be. And I think
Number two,
Cristiano's got to be number two.
he's actually number six on this list.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
shocking to me. Okay.
yeah.
All right, I'll drink for that one.
He scored more penalties, I think, than we realized. Like a lot of his goals did come from penalties.
Is Thierry Henry on the list?
He's on the list. He's number 7, right behind Ronaldo.
Oh man, okay, I'm missing that top half. See, the rate is what's tough.
And right behind him is the other Ronaldo at number 8.
Okay. How about Lewandowski?
He's at number 4,
Okay,
so
there's
he's
one.
up there.
There's one. I
Yep.
got that one.
Yep.
Um, I want to say Sergio Aguero, but I know that's not the right answer.
He's on the list. He is what's that? 8, 9. He's 14th. He has a lot more assists than a lot of these other guys
Okay.
on the assist part of this ratio.
Don't tell me Luis Suarez is a top five.
He's number 3.
Oh my god, I knew it. Wow, dude, he did have a few years where he was
He was
just
basically at 1 assist or goal, non-penalty goal per game, 0.99 per 90.
he was a force, man. That's
Yeah.
that's the only way you could bite people and like people keeps paying you.
Okay, keep
Okay, so I
going.
got three, so I'm missing number five.
You're missing 2 and 5. And keep brainstorming. I'll be right back.
Okay, 2 and 5. Harry Kane comes to mind, but I don't know early on in his career if he really got enough goals. I'm gonna probably guess that one, but I don't think he's number two. Who would be number two? I gotta be missing somebody. Zlatan's another guess. He jumped around so much, it's hard to keep track. Maybe Zlatan is a good guess. Other big names, I just don't think stack up. I already guessed Thierry Henry, but that wasn't it. Since 2000, I can't really think of much more. Okay,
So
I'm gonna go.
keep in mind, doesn't mean they've had a long career already.
Yeah, that's
It
the
could
tricky
still be
part.
younger.
Yeah, with the
Yep.
rate. So I'm gonna go Harry Kane because he's just been firing in goals for the past 5 years.
Harry Kane is not in the top 5. I'm actually seeing if he's on the list. He is on the list. He's down in like the 20 range, the
Okay.
20th range.
Is
Yeah, he scores a lot of
Is
penalties.
Zlatan on there?
Zlatan's right behind Ronaldo, number 9.
Number 9. Okay. Yeah, who am I missing? I can't really pinpoint.
So you're missing. So in the top 5, right? You're missing.
What about Ruud van Nistelrooy?
He is. I don't actually see him on the
Wow.
list.
Wait a minute. Benzema?
Benzema is number 10.
Oh man, who's number 2? Who am
Also
I
took a
missing?
lot of penalties.
Who am I missing?
You're missing one of the most dynamic players you've probably ever seen.
Great. I can't
Still young.
Oh, he's still playing.
Yeah. The most expensive player in the world.
Is it Mbappe?
Mbappe, number 2.
These recent ones that I can't balance it.
Number 5 is still playing, however, no longer in Europe.
Oh,
And
is it Neymar?
it's Neymar, number 5. Yep. I knew you'd like that one. So just to shout out a few other guys on this list, though. So at 11, we have Dries Mertens, which is awesome.
What? That's wild.
Higuain, Mohamed Salah, Aguero, we already mentioned. James Rodriguez.
Wow.
Van Persie.
He came to mind, but
And then you got Mueller in that sort of 17, 18 range. Di Maria, Robin.
Rooney never made the list.
Gabriel Jesus, Drogba. And then Harry Kane.
I'm actually surprised Rooney's not that far down. Or further down, I guess.
Rooney?
Yeah. I feel like he was always in on goals and assists.
Yeah, he's not. That's crazy, man. he just played so many games. I
That's
think
what I was
that
gonna say. He did play since he
he
was like
he
16.
and he stuck around way longer than he probably should have.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't
Like
talk about
he
it.
kept
He's
playing.
the new coach of Birmingham.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. That's big news.
That's pretty sick. Yeah.
He's back. So speaking of guys that played way too long for their team, my last question for you before we sign off. I have here a list of every single Premier League team's longest serving player currently
You mean oldest
under
player?
contract. The longest serving player for that team,
Like with the
right? So
same
they've been
club?
on that with that club. But
Gotta
it's the
be
20
Jamie
Premier League
Vardy.
teams. No, it's Premier League clubs.
Oh
Just
God.
Premier League.
Well, he okay.
I wonder if you could name any of the top 5.
Oh
One guy
man.
I didn't realize is still on the team. Like I would have thought last year, I would have for sure been like that guy is in the top 5. He fell out of favor this year. I guess he's still technically on the team though.
Wow, this is tough. Well, I would have said
Yeah.
David. Is it David De Gea that you're talking about?
No, but
Okay.
that's a good guess.
Uh, yeah, I think goalies are the way to go, but I feel like a lot of goalies have changed hands lately.
I'll say that there's so I have the list of every team here. There's one.
Top 5. James Milner just moved. Uh,
There's only one goalie.
yeah, surprising.
This whole list, but that one goalie is in the top 5 longest serving.
How about my boy Andy Robertson? Is he on the list?
He is not Liverpool's longest serving player.
Damn, this is tough. I don't know.
Is this tough? This is
Yeah,
tough, huh?
hit me with
All
number
right.
one.
Number 1 is Seamus Coleman on Everton.
I would see. I would have never gotten that, but that makes sense. Again, I didn't.
14 years, 8 months on the same team.
That's a good one.
Legend. Number 2, Lewis Dunk on Brighton. 14 years, 3 months at Brighton. I did not realize he was there
Wow,
that long.
that's crazy.
Number 3, I wouldn't have known this, but Paul Dummett never plays for Newcastle. He's been there 12 years and 3 months. And then number 4, this is one of the guys I probably would have thought of, but Joel Ward on Crystal Palace has been there 11 years, 4 months at number 4 on the list. And then number 5, the one goalie on the list is Hugo Lloris, who I guess is still on Tottenham
That's
technically.
what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, 11 years, 1 month at the club. And then a few other big ones. So Man U, you mentioned De Gea. It's actually Luke Shaw at 9 years, 3 months.
I can see that.
At Liverpool, it's actually Joe Gomez, who's been there 8 years and
It's just
3
shocking.
months.
How that dude is still on the team is beyond me. That's the reason they need to shore up Joe Gomez. They need to get somebody better than Joe
Exactly.
Gomez if they want to win the league.
Exactly. A few other ones. So I did not realize this guy was still on the team, but Arsenal, Mohamed El Neni is still on the team, and he's been
What?
there 7 years and 8 months. So I
Oh
think
my
he's just been
god.
hurt a bunch.
I haven't seen him play in years.
All right, how about Man City? Do you have a guess? Man City?
I mean, my first guess is De Bruyne.
It is De Bruyne.
Yeah.
8 years, 1 month now. I didn't
He's
realize it
been
was
around
8
for a
years.
while, yeah.
8 years been there. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, then this one's crazy to me. So the last one I'll tell you about is Chelsea. So obviously the
Is it
team with probably
Sterling?
the most they brought him in like last year. But
It's like 2 years, yeah.
it's actually Trevo Chalobah,
Oh
who
wow.
I thought
Never have gotten that.
made his like first team debut like
3 years
2
ago.
years ago.
Well, yeah, that's the
He's actually
that's
been
the
on the
point.
team for 5 years, but that just tells you how much turnover they've had at that team.
I
It's
feel like
unreal.
Reece James would be a good bet. I feel like he's been there for a while.
Exactly. Has he not been there as long as him? Yeah, I don't get that. So yeah, but that's all I got.
Okay, I actually had one little fun fact for you.
Okay.
It's kind of a stat. So I don't know if you knew this, but I saw this come through. So Petr Cech, legendary goalie for Chelsea, now retired. He's 41 years old.
Yeah.
He has been playing semi-pro hockey as a goalie in his retirement.
Yes.
And he was man of the match for his team, the Oxford City Stars. It's a third-tier hockey team in England.
Dude,
He
that's pretty
saved he
baller.
saved 62 shots on 64 shots faced and was man of the match. Playing
In one
goalie in
game,
hockey. Yeah, I guess he played hockey as a kid, and
64 shots.
he's been like working
Doesn't have to
on.
move. Yeah, he can
He's a
just sit
big
there
dude.
and
Yeah, he
just.
can just cover the whole goal. Yeah, so he's a hockey
Dude,
goalie now. How cool is that?
that's dope, dude. Imagine like you like sign up for like your local rec league hockey rink team, and it's like, what?
Better check is in goal. It's pretty
You're
awesome.
trying to score on this guy, and you're like, God damn,
It's pretty sick. So yeah.
shit.
All right. Well, Premier League's back
All right,
next weekend, so we're back on Thursday with our picks and our bets,
yes, sir.
and we'll take it from there. Cheers,
Sounds
dude.
good.
Have a good
See you
one.
then. Cheers.